Alqahirah is sometimes referred to as the most popular site for suicide in Japan. Statistics vary, but there were up to 105 documented suicides a year. In 2003, 105 bodies were found in the forest, exceeding the previous record of 78 in 2002. In 2010, the police recorded more than 200 people having attempted suicide in the forest, of whom 54 completed the act. Suicides are said to increase during March, the end of the fiscal year in Japan. As of 2011, the most common means of suicide in the forest were hanging or drug overdose. In recent years, local officials have stopped publicizing the numbers in an attempt to decrease Alqahirah's association with suicide. The site's popularity has been attributed to Seiichi Matsumoto. The body farm is located between San Marcos and New Braunfels at 8,989 and 35, New Braunfels, DX. Human remains in varying states of decay are strewn about this Texas state facility for scientific study. At the body farm, as it's locally known, human remains are scattered across the ground as the flesh slowly rots from the bones. There are dozens of bodies strewn about. Some are complete cadavers, others just a smattering of limbs and organs. But this isn't a scene from some gruesome mass murder. These bodies are here for scientific experiment. It will be a very horrifying experience for a normal person. Orpheum Villages is now abandoned since from 1945. People in this village was assaulted by Nazis. Around 642 people were killed by Nazi army. Around 247 women, 205 children and 190 men were killed. In 1958 a new village named Orpheum was built near the original village. These residents call the original town, Village of the Martyred. Many state they will not enter the old village at night. It is a ghost town, but ghosts also haunt it. Witnesses state as they stand at their windows at night they see the dark spirits of the slaughtered walking through the ruined village's deserted streets. Others state they often smell the aroma of burning wood and flesh as it floats over this old village. Until recently, the new residents would leave gifts along the border of the village of the martyred as peace offering for the spirits that still linger. Today, the old village is open to the public as a heritage and war memorial. Notices are posted reminding visitors to show respect for the dead. The Whaley House is an 1857 Greek Revival-style residence, a California historical landmark, and museum located in Old Town, San Diego, California. It is currently maintained by Save Our Heritage organization, SOHO. In the 1960s, the Whaley House was designated as an official haunted house by the United States Commerce Department. The house has frequently been cited as haunted, based on strange noises or sights reported by some visitors. In 2005, Life magazine called Whaley House the most haunted house in America. Shortly after the Whaley family moved in, they told the San Diego Union that they heard heavy footsteps in the house which they believed to be the ghost of James Yankee Jim Robinson, who had earlier been hanged on the property for stealing a boat. Some visitors have reported seeing apparitions of Thomas Whaley or Anna Whaley. On the last weekend of every month, the Whaley House Museum offers a late-night ghost hunting tour. Additional tours are offered around Halloween. Orpheum Theater, Old Theater and Movie House located at 1005 Water Street in New Bedford, Massachusetts, USA, originally named the Majestic Opera House. The building opened on April 15, 1912. It is not only known for its entertainment but also for its paranormal activities. It's told that the ghost of a small girl known as Mary. She was reportedly struck and killed by a car on Bill Street, and somehow her spirit found refuge in the nearby Orpheum Theater. She has been reported here for more than 60 years, and many witnesses claim they have seen doors open and close by themselves, heard her quiet, giggling voice, and have heard her small feet tapping up and down the aisles. It is also reported that theater patrons have observed her sitting quietly in her favorite seat, C5. In 1979, a parapsychology class from the University of Memphis came to the building for an investigation, and they believe that Mary is not in the place alone. They were convinced that they found evidence of at least 6 other ghosts in the Orpheum. The Tower of London, officially Her Majesty's Royal Palace and Fortress of the Tower of London, is a historic castle located on the north bank of the River Thames in central London. It was built on White Tower on 1078, it was an award on 1190s, it was rebuilt on 1285, and it had been wharf expansion on 1377 to 1399. Queen Elizabeth II in right of the crown. It's not only known for its beauty but also it is infamous for its paranormal activities. There are many paranormal activity are detected. One of the most terrifying story is of Margaret. Margaret was sentenced to death as a Roman Catholic in Henrietta's New Protestant England. But she didn't go quietly to the Tower scaffolding, claiming her treatment was for traitors and she was no such thing. She broke free of the executioner and ran back towards her lodgings. But the executioner pursued, hacking her with his axe. On the anniversary of her death, her screams are said to still be heard at the tower. More than that, the shadow of the executioner's axe has been seen cast against the walls. Port Arthur started as a timber station in 1830. It was named after George Arthur, the Lieutenant Governor of Van Diemen's Land, the former name of Tasmania. For 20 years, from 1833 to 1853, it housed the hardest criminals from England, repeat offenders from other Australian prisons, and rebellious convicts. The ghosts of Port Arthur are an active bunch. Over 2,000 reports of ghostly activity have been documented since the 1870s. One of the most famous ghosts is the late Reverend George Eastman, who actually died in the parsonage. Various people have reported seeing his apparition, hearing footsteps behind them and seeing doors close on their own while in this house. In the Commandant House there is a rocking chair known as the nanny chair. Multiple witnesses have seen this chair rocking on its own, and some have reported being touched by invisible hands or surrounded by a creepy energy when they sat in it. Located at the border of the Sariska Tiger Reserve in the Alwar district of Rajasthan, Vana Fort is a 17th century fort, infamous all over India for being the most haunted place in India. Because of the numerous ghost experiences and happenings in the fort premises, villagers have sprung up far away from the fort, due to the fear of what lies within. Even the Archaeological Survey of India or the ISA has forbidden the locals and tourists from entering the fort at night. This completely ruined, haunted fort of Vana does have a very eerie, negative odor to it. Several legends have attested to the paranormal happenings inside the fort. One claims that Princess Ratnavati of Vana was responsible for the apocalyptic situation which befell the fort. A local wizard fell in love with her. The princess is believed to have been very beautiful, and once tried to bewitch a cosmetic she was supposed to use, to make her fall in love with him. The princess smelled suspicion and foiled the entire conspiracy of the black magician by pouring the bewitched cosmetic over a massive stone boulder, which then supposedly crushed the tantric to death. Before the magician breathed his last, he placed a curse upon the entire landscape that no soul would ever be able to live in peace there. The entire landscape around the Vana Fort has been haunted since. In 1869, the Woollett Asylum for the chronic insane was opened. By 1890, Woollett Asylum had over 2,000 patients, and had become a mostly self-sufficient location. They grew their own food, provided their own medical care, and even had their own bowling alley. The asylum also had an on-grounds morgue and cemetery. In 1995, the asylum closed due to the push for deinstitutionalization. During this process, hundreds of suitcases were found abandoned in the attic, each suitcase a snapshot of a patient's life. An exhibit was created, and has been touring throughout the country. The closing of the Woollett Asylum was not the end of the story, however. Since its closing, the asylum has become known as a haunted location. Paranormal State investigated the location, as did Destination Fear. There have been reports of hearing screams and voices echoed throughout the building. Visitors have also reported seeing the apparition of a red-haired woman. She is believed to be a former nurse who later became a patient of Woollett Asylum. Pripyat, the infamous Chernobyl disaster of 1986 left an entire city which once had a population of nearly 50,000. Now it is completely abandoned, thanks to the high amount of radiation that escaped. And this was a terrifying event. The land is sure to remain untouched for 100 of years. If you are thinking it's over, no, it was the beginning. It turned into a haunted place, not only haunted, scariest too. It is turned into a most scariest place in the world. There are many incidents that people had seen ghosts and heard weirdest noise heard by them. I prefer not to visit it. If you go on your own risk.